Hello everybody, my name is Bricky. Hope you're having a great day today. And today we are doing a little bit of a tier list look for the legends in Apex Legends. Now luckily for me, it is February and therefore there's only 8 legends in total, and I don't have to entirely worry about any new legends coming out quite yet. So we are going to create the tier list for the 8 legends, and I do want to make 2 quick disclaimers. The first one is I don't think any of the legends in this game are technically bad. There may be some that are obviously worse than others, but I don't think any of them are bad characters, because Apex Legends isn't so ability based that you need to play a certain character to do well. The ability to position yourself and have good gunplay more than makes up for a poor skill of the character. So that's kind of something that I do really want to make a nice little statement on. And secondly, I don't think there's any of the legends that are technically what I would call overpowered. I would call the best ones maybe a little too overtuned and might need a tiny bit of an adjustment, but I don't think any of the legends are entirely what I would call OP. I don't think there's an OP legend. There are strong legends, but I don't think there's an OP legend, so to speak. Anyway, with that being said, I want to go ahead and start off with number 8, and that is, I don't think you really expected anything else. It's Caustic. It's still Caustic. Caustic has a lot of problems going for him, and he is very feast or famine depending on what situation and area you are in. For instance, if you are fighting in Skulltown or Bunker, he can be quite effective sometimes, but if you're fighting almost anywhere else, he is pretty terrible. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. First being is that his toxic traps do almost no damage, and they also have an insanely small trigger range. Not quite sure why you have to be nearly touching them to activate his trap, but overall, the fact that they do not trigger very well at all is a big detriment to the character. Also, his ultimate is basically just another one of his traps with a slightly larger radius, better aiming, and also a long wind-up time. So overall, Caustic is just simply not a very strong character. His hitbox size also is a detriment to him, and it makes it very difficult for you to play Caustic properly. Now, there are a couple of things I would do to buff him. I would personally make the damage of his traps a little bit higher. I would also increase the range the gas spreads, I guess, for his traps, and I would also increase the range of his trap setting off of the triggering time. Past that, we just kind of have to wait and see how Caustic does after a bit. Hopefully with a couple buffs, he'll be more into the viable tier. Number 7, we have Gibraltar. Poor Gibraltar. Now, Gibraltar's a little bit weird, mainly because his abilities are surprisingly strong. His abilities are actually rather good. His dome shield and airstrike are very powerful, and his gun shield could block more damage, but the fact that it does block damage is pretty nice. However, the downside is Gibraltar moves at an insanely slow speed while aiming down sights, and his giant hitbox and arm shield that gives him away a little bit does not help at all. He is a huge target that you basically can't miss, and while you might have issues fighting, say, a Wraith or a Lifeline due to their small hitbox, Gibraltar is practically a magnet for bullets. Also, his dome shield isn't entirely useful, especially considering how powerful short-range weapons are in this game, at least in terms of a close range battle. At long range, say you're getting sniped, somebody gets down, it's great tool right there, or if you need to heal up perhaps, but in a close range setting, it's very, very underwhelming. His airstrike, I will admit, is an extremely powerful move. It is great at not only dealing damage, but also getting people out of an area. It's also incredibly good at the late game, but getting to the late game is hard enough as it is with Gibraltar, and I do believe that he needs a bit of a tweak. Mainly, I would say make it so he moves faster while ADSing. That's a good step. Next up, we have Mirage, my personal favorite character. Now, I do like Mirage. I think he's a lot of fun, and I do think he has potential if used right. The only downside with him is that there are a couple just mainly quality of life things that I think need to be adjusted to make him any better. And also, he relies entirely on messing with your enemy, and if your enemy just ain't having that, then you are basically a ability-less character. Basically, you're just a walking gun. Now, Mirage's passive is just kind of underwhelming. It's not that great. Personally, I would like if you went invisible and you crawled a lot faster than normal. I think that would be really nice, so you can push yourself out of danger a lot quicker. Then also for his Q, I think that the Q should slide when he slides, or slide when the opportunity presents itself. There's a lot of sliding in Apex, and seeing someone walk in a straight line really isn't that special. But say if you fire out your decoy and then you slide, your decoy should slide with you. Or perhaps if your decoy finds some kind of certain degree slope, it'll automatically slide, making it seem like it's an enemy. Finally, your ultimate, I think there's two things that need to be changed. First of all, I think that all of his clones should run out in separate directions. They could also slide maybe if they wanted to, but I don't like how they just all stand there. No one falls for that. Like, they really don't, at least, and they definitely won't in about a week or two time when they really get used to it. That no one falls for that specific ability. So I think that it should fire out all of your decoys in walking areas like a little star or like a firework. They all start walking in different directions. You also need to be able to cancel your invisibility when you feel like it. Now, a lot of people assume that you should be able to do the same thing with Wraith. I disagree. Wraith's special ability is a complete invisibility and invulnerability. While you are easier to track, you are completely invulnerable. So it makes a lot of sense why you can't be able to cancel it earlier. However, for Mirage, if you get shot at while you're invisible, you are completely SOL. You're just really doomed because you can't de-invisible yourself, and you're being fired at when you're invisible, and you can't fire back at the enemy. So you really need the option to de-invis yourself because you're still able to be shot, unlike Wraith, who can't be shot in the meantime. Personally, I think that would make Mirage a much better character and provide way more enjoyable counterplay. And also, I like the idea of all of his clones running outwards because not only is it fun, but it also provides a little bit of counter, because then if the enemy team sees all the clones running out, they can think, oh god, Mirage is invisible, where is he, where is he, where is he? And it adds a little bit of fun to it, but I don't know, we'll see. Still, at the end of the day, make it so that he can cancel his ultimate. All right, thank you. Number 4 is Wraith. Or is it would it be number 4 or would it be number 5? I guess it would be number 5. Yeah, it's the middle ground, so it's number 5, I suppose. The next up, basically. It's Wraith. Now, Wraith is surprisingly low on this list, and I know that is really odd, considering that all the best players generally play Wraith, and Wraith is one of the best characters. But I said before, no character is really bad, and you play Wraith for a couple reasons. Primarily for her hitbox, and the portals can be rather useful. You want speed. Now, in almost every single FPS game, speed is the winner of pretty much everything, and Wraith's ability to go fast is incredibly powerful. But at the same time, it's not like she really has a whole lot she brings to the table. Her passive is nice, but only useful at times. Her Q is very useful. It gets you out of dodge pretty quickly, but it does have counterplay. And your portals do actually have a ton of awesome play potential, but that's only if you use them right, and even if you do use them really, really well, it's not like they're massively game-changing or anything. I mean, they can be, but at the end of the day, the portals are a little bit underwhelming. Point being, Wraith is very good thanks to her hitbox and her speed, but I don't consider her one of the top-tier picks, and she's more of a just kind of noob-stomping character, in my opinion, or she's a lot better at it. Don't get me wrong, you'd be great with Wraith, but she's just not quite top-tier level. However, moving next, we actually have Lifeline, and this might seem really weird to a lot of you that Lifeline is number 4, but Lifeline is definitely a great character, and if solo play ever comes to the game, she will be the number 1 best character. Healing faster is very strong, her hitbox is really, really good, her passive is really useful and I think should be used more often, but I get why they don't because grenade spam is terrifying. And also, the heal drone saves you inventory space, and the giant drop pod is so nice for keeping you geared up and for feeding ultimate accelerants too. Lifeline is great. She is a absolutely great character. However, I do find it a little bit difficult to put her any higher because besides her personal healing, a lot of her major abilities aren't incredibly great in the heat of the moment or the heat of battle. They're always out of the heat of battle stuff, minus her hitbox size. Doc Heal Drone you generally use outside of battle. The Lifeline package you obviously use outside of battle. And for your hitbox is obviously a battle thing, but the revive thing is only sometimes useful depending on the battle you're in. I mean, it is nice for the battle so you can block some bullets, but grenades and stuff still causes you some problems. Overall, I think Lifeline is a fantastic character, but I just don't think she's as good as the next three. And number 3 on the list is Pathfinder. I will admit, I really had a hard time picking Pathfinder versus Lifeline. I swapped the two of them around all the time. I honestly could not figure out, do I want Pathfinder or Lifeline at 3? I just couldn't figure it out. I just couldn't. But I ended up choosing Pathfinder. Why? Because speed kills and Pathfinder kills. The zip lines are extremely underrated. They're great for getting out of dodge and running around the place, but the ability to outmaneuver and outflank your enemy is insane in a BR game. The whole point of no wall running, double jumping, and all that crazy stuff from Titanfall was because it messed with the flow of the game. It's because people being able to get everywhere and jump around everywhere and murder people from everywhere ended up causing a lot of problems for tactics in the game. And I actually completely agree with that. As much as I love Titanfall, I agree with that. Pathfinder quasi breaks that. He's able to get onto special roofs. He's able to get onto buildings. He's able to get onto rocks. He's able to get behind you. He's able to get around you. He's very good at just getting around and messing with your flanks. And while he does have a large hitbox, which is a little bit annoying, his passive is also rather enjoyable because it helps you get those flanks because you know where the next zone will be. Pathfinder is really hidden strong. He's insanely good, and a well-coordinated team with the right weapons, snipers, or anything in between that can really pincer an enemy can be pretty insanely strong. It really can be, and I honestly think Pathfinder might be one of the best characters in the game, and which at the current moment is why he's number 3, because wow, Robot Boy is really good at just mechanical parts of the game. Also, let's not forget just the speed in general. Getting in the zone, getting out of the zone, running away from a fight, anything in between. It's just useful. Next up, we have Bloodhound. Now, Bloodhound is number 2 for a lot of great reasons. We all know how powerful Bloodhound is. Bloodhound is a very strong character. The crows and such are nice little touches for his passive. It helps you if you, especially just want to know if people are nearby. It's great if you think that there are enemies nearby and you can find them right there. Your Q is also incredibly nice. It helps you get a little bit of extra battle data, whether it's before or during a fight, just so you know where an enemy possibly is, so you can get the drop on them, or if you think they're hiding in a building perhaps. And your ultimate, I mean, it's mainly the ultimate. Bloodhound's power is almost all the ultimate. Being able to see people through caustic gas, through smoke grenades, through smoke of any kind, seeing the footsteps of the enemy players, seeing them highlighted in red, basically having permanent threat optics and insanely fast speed for, what is it, like 40 seconds, 35 seconds? It's super powerful. There's a reason when you hear that intense screech and you hear "All Father guide my blade" or something, you like shrivel up in fear because it's incredibly hard to hit Bloodhound. The speed that they move with their AD-AD strafing, their ADSing speed is so fast, and it's becoming extremely hard to hit close range moving Bloodhounds like that. It's terrifying, and Bloodhound's ability to track you through smoke, anything like that makes them a extremely powerful pick, and Bloodhound is definitely worthy of the number 2 spot. The ultimate is a large portion of it, but still. Next up, and finally, the final one, Bangalore. This should come as a surprise to almost nobody. Bangalore is an incredibly powerful character. She has a medium-sized hitbox, which is nice, but her little double-time speed boost is 90% of what makes her really good. Bangalore's just speed in general, and the speed that can be used constantly in a fight makes her strafing incredibly fast, really hard to hit her. She just flies past people if you ever fire at her or even close to her, because she doesn't even need to be hit for this thing to activate. She just needs to be shot at for it to activate. The speed boost in its own right is super strong. Smoke grenades are also one of the best tools in the game, both offensively and defensively. Smoke grenades in general are extremely strong at covering revives, at concealing where enemies are to screw with them, anything like that. They're very, very powerful. And your ultimate is pretty good, even though I would even call it the weakest part of her kit, even though her ultimate is great. Great little zigzag row of bombs. The bombs make it so you can't Well, I mean, it's a little bit of damage, but it's mainly the stun effect, and the stun effect is pretty annoying and rather it's rather hard to explain it, but it's frightening. It's very frightening, and it's scary to actually see the bombs fly near you, because the damage isn't even that high. It's like, what, 30 damage each? But the stun effect, that's what you're scared of, and that stun effect will cripple you. It's insanely crippling. So, Bangalore in general, oh, and I forgot, Bangalore's punching ability. You know, melee does 30 damage each punch. Smoke grenades, if you hit somebody with it, does 10. So she's already better at punching people as well. Bang, 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 smoke grenade, and they're down. Bangalore is really good. Really, really good. And it's no surprise the two characters that have in-combat speed boosts are the best characters in the game. In fact, it's no surprise the top 3 characters are the movement-based characters in the game: Pathfinder, Bloodhound, and Bangalore. If you're curious what I would do to change them, I actually don't know if I would change Pathfinder at all. I really just don't know, because Pathfinder already kind of quasi-breaks the game. But Bloodhound definitely needs a bit of a movement speed nerf during their 80-80 strafing. And mainly when they aim down sights, they should have their movement speed slightly nerfed. Bangalore, I think, just needs a movement speed nerf. Maybe make it on level with Bloodhounds, because it's faster than Bloodhounds, and it's just damn quick. Also, I also believe that maybe Bangalore's special movement speed should only activate when she's actually hit by a bullet, not when she is shot at, but it depends. Anyway, that's the tier list for today. I do want to mention it once again. They're all good. They're all fine. They're all usable. It's actually surprisingly well balanced. I do think Bloodhound and Bangalore need a little bit of a nerf, a teensy tiny one, and I definitely think Caustic and Gibraltar and Mirage need buffs. But overall, it's surprisingly well balanced. If you're like, oh man, I really want to play Caustic, but he's not that good, just play Caustic. You're fine. If you got good aim and good positioning, you're fine. It's just a little bit of extra fun to have in it with the characters. You want to be a Caustic main? Have at it. If you want to be a Bangalore main? Have at it. And don't expect Bangalore to win you every single game, because she won't. The point is that your skill matters first. The characters are a little added benefit, and you're probably going to see Lifeline, Bangalore, Bloodhound crew all the time, because people don't seem to realize how good Pathfinder is yet. Just trust me. Play anyone, have a good time. The tier list is just if you want to be a hardcore meta slave, and if that's the case, then hey, I can't really judge you. You do you. All right. Mine's been Bricky. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm curious, do you want a tier list on guns as well? Because if you do, let me know. I'll make a tier list on guns. All right, bye-bye.